Hi, Tony from Micro Center here with a chalk talk minus the dust about routers. Yes, we get this question a lot at Micro Center. What is a router? How do I set them up? What do I do with them? Why do I need them? So let's tell you why you need a router. You need a router because you probably want to get on the internet. Now, can you get on the internet without a router? Of course you can. When you subscribe to internet service from your provider, they will come to your house and drop off a modem. A modem translates the signal from your computer to the router and gets you on the internet. There's only one problem with having a modem without a router. That same technology that lets you get to www.anywhere you want allows hackers to find your computer and your modem. And that's because your modem is exposed to the internet and has a public address. It has to. How else would it find anything on the internet? How else would you find anything on the internet? Well, there's a simple solution, and that's called a router. Putting the router between you and the rest of the internet does several things for you. Now, these are amazing little boxes that are anywhere from 50 bucks up, and let's talk about what all they do for you. First off, they do provide a firewall. What does a firewall do? A firewall looks at incoming traffic and says, hey, did anybody on my side of the firewall request this traffic? If it does, it lets it through. If not, it blocks it out. So even though the hackers are out there trying to get into your computer, they get blocked at the firewall. Now let's start from your side and work in. One of the great things a router does for you is provides you more ports to hook up computers through what's called a switch. Many of the modems provided by the ISPs provide only one connection out to the internet, possibly two. Routers provide at least four ports, and you can hook other switches up to this internal switch, giving you more possibilities of connecting hardwired devices. Hardwired devices are nice and in fact preferable when you can run a wire, but what happens when you can't run a wire? Well, built into the router is a wireless access point, usually with an antenna, some of them without, and this gives you the ability to connect Wi-Fi devices to your router just as if they were hardwired. They all participate in the same network. Key, though, is the fact that it also has built-in security. Okay? You can encrypt your router so that only you and people you authorize get into your router, and you want to do this for a couple of reasons. You want to protect any of the data and information that's on your side of the computer, your side of the network, from casual hacking. And you don't want little Johnny or Mary next door connecting to your router and downloading tons and tons and tons and tons of movies, which get you then blacklisted by your internet service provider. Another feature that makes it very handy for networking today is something called a DHCP server. What this does is automatically assigns addresses to all of the computers, printers, and other network devices that you have so that you don't have to decide on addresses, have collisions, and have to reconfigure it. The last function, of course, is the actual routing function. This is the part of the box that says, hey, is this on my side of the network? Or is this out there on the internet somewhere? So if you've got a computer and you're looking at a shared printer, the router says, yep, I know that printer is one of mine. On the other hand, if you're sitting here and you want to surf to www.microcenter.com, always a good idea, the router looks at the address and knows, nope, that's somewhere on the internet. I need to go find it. Again, the primary function of a router is protecting you from the public side of the internet. You have a network all of your own, private, on this side. Now, what do we mean when we say a network? Without going into a long discussion about IP addressing, you've all probably seen an IP address something like 192.168.1. something 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 something. Those first three numbers for home use are usually your network number. The last number is actually the device on the network or host. This could be your computer, printer, a network attached storage device, or anything else that is able to communicate over the network. Remember, your ISP's modem usually provides access for one or two devices. A router, on the other hand, can give you over 200 different addresses. So between what you have and visiting friends, you probably will never run out of the need you never run out of the ability to connect another device. Now, a question we get a lot at Micro Center is, can I put a router behind a router? Usually this occurs because the router is in the basement on the first floor. They want to get to the second or third floor of the house. The house is very long and they can string one cable, but they really want to have Wi-Fi access and multiple hardwired access. And the answer is yes, you can. Right out of the box, you can put a router behind a router. Now remember, we talked about a router creates a network behind it. So everything here is on a network, everything here is on a network, everything here is on a network. No problem when what you're trying to do is get from any of the positions out to the internet. Could be a possible problem if you're on the third floor and you're trying to print to the printer in the basement. There's some extra configuration you would need to do in the router, and this is where some knowledge of IP addressing comes into play. But there's an easier way to solve that. Rather than having separate networks and having to figure out the addressing scheme correctly, the better way to go is to put an access point at the far end. There are wireless access points and combination wired and wireless access points. The advantage here is that this router creates one network and all of your access points are in the same network. So you're on a computer on the third floor, printing to a printer in the basement, you're all part of the network. The decision of where to route that traffic is done by the single router, and it will come back out. Many of the routers Micro Center sells are able to be set as access points. Two things you should be looking for on the box: WDS, Wireless Distribution System, or access point mode. Either of those will allow you to easily set up a multi-router system in your home to distribute the signal. So, in review, the internet is out there. You're buying service from your ISP, internet service provider, who usually will provide you a modem. The modem may have one or two connections, and if you want more connections and protection, you buy a router. The router usually has 4 wired ports, which can be extended into more wired ports with the addition of a switch and a wireless access point, which you can turn off if you want the ultimate security, or encrypted for extremely good security. What can you connect to a router? Another access point, another wireless signal, another wired distribution panel. Your PCs, your Mac, your printers, or disks called network attached storage. So that's why you need a router. That's all the things a router can do for you. The internet is out there. Let's get going, 'cause surf's up.